Chiropractors, are you being true to yourself? Welcome, everybody, to the KC CHIROPulse Podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich, and I'm joined in the studio today with Dr. Troy Fox, my co-host. And we are just darned excited to be here because we want to talk to you about being a leader in your practice.
Yeah. Don't be a paper tiger. You got to know what you want, right?
I like that, paper tiger. That's so true.
Yeah.
You got to know what you want. You got to know how to give your staff direction, to develop them, to train them, to lead your patient. I mean, okay, everybody, here's what I'm going to suggest. Grab a cup of coffee or some water or something. We're going to be here for a little bit.
Yeah.
So snuggle in because there's a lot to unpack here.
I'm going to go ahead and get the G word out of the way right off the bat, because 90% of what we talk about goes back to goals. Where do you want to be? And so I'm just going to get it out of the way that if you don't have goals set, we're going to somehow try to convince you again that goals are sexy and fun and they're worthwhile, because they really are. So
they're fun. Goals are just fun. So, okay. So first thing, I'm just going to dive in here.
Yeah.
There's no order to what's happening in my mind right now.
No, this is something that we just talked about like 5 minutes ago. So
right.
This is fresh off the cuff.
So one of the things that you have to do to be the leader is you have to create a roadmap. You have to know where you're going, or at least where you're trying to go. You know, it's like an architect. Somebody didn't just come by and build your house or the building that your practice is in. Where did it start? It started in an architect's mind. And then he or she was able to translate that down onto paper. And then from there, a contractor was able to read the paper to build the building. Okay. We have to do the same thing. We have to be the architect of our own success. So what do you want to make? How much do you want to make a year? And I don't want to hear anybody out there say, well, in chiropractic, we can't make a lot of money. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You're looking at two people that do. And our clients are shooting the lights out. So I don't want to hear that you can't. There's no can't in this conversation. The only thing you can't do is not have a roadmap, not have goals.
It doesn't happen by you not doing anything other than just opening the door in the morning.
Right.
That doesn't work. I can tell you right now that you will not be successful if you just walk in, open the door, and go, let's see what happens.
It's not about hanging your shingle outside, and then all of a sudden everybody's going to flood into your practice, and you go in, adjust a bunch of people, and then lock the door at the end of the day. It does not work that way.
Yeah.
Real
and
success.
I love what you said about being the architect, because truth of the matter is, the biggest thing that I look at with this is conveying who you are, what you are, and what your goals are to your staff as well. They have to be on board with you.
They're your success partners. So they have to be on board with you, and they have to understand what that roadmap looks like and what your expectations are to travel that road to get to where you want to go.
Why are people afraid to create that roadmap or write goals? I have some thoughts on that, but what do you think? Why are people afraid to write those goals down?
I think it's two things which are actually bookends to each other. One is fear of success, and the other is fear of failure.
Exactly.
And if I don't write it down, then I'll experience neither.
I'm not responsible for it then at that point.
Right.
What happens.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like saying, I'm going to drive to Oklahoma City, and then I don't pull out a map and I go, well, if I get there, I get there. And you may take a straight shot at it and just hit it, but you may drive around for the rest of your life trying to find it.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And here's the other, within your bookends, right in the middle of this, here's the other one that I see. The other one I see is that sometimes people believe that when they set goals, that there's no way for them to achieve it. And in my opinion, that means that you're not adept enough at writing goals. In other words, that you need to spend more time writing small goals with even smaller steps, because every single day, you have to get out of your chair and you have to go into the office and you have to take a step forward to make things happen. Every little tiny goal that you want to achieve, you have to know clearly what that goal is, number one. Two, you have to know what the steps are to get there, and they have to be bite-sized chunks.
Yep.
They can't be so big that it's something that takes 8 hours to complete and you've got 15 hours or 15 minutes in your whole day to complete it. And you go, well, that one's out the window because I can't do it.
Right. So let's do a little exercise. So I've got my calculator here. Let's just say you set a goal to make $200,000 more this year in the next 12 months. Okay.
Everybody would like that, wouldn't they?
Sure. But it's a big number.
Yeah.
It's a huge number. So let's do this. Let's divide it by 12 and it comes out to be $16,650. I'm rounding off per month. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds a little better. But if you're making 18,000 a month in collections, 16,650 more, that's double your practice pretty much. Okay. So that still sounds like a lot. So let's do this. Let's divide it into how much extra that is a week. And again, I'm rounding off. It's about $4,200 a week. Okay. That sounds a little better, but still it's kind of a big number. So let's do this. How many days per week does the average chiropractor work? It's 4. So let's divide that by 4. Okay, so now it's $1,050 extra a day. Okay, that sounds better, but it's still kind of a big number because it's got a comma in it. Yeah. So let's divide it. Let's do this. So that's per day. Let's divide that in half and look at per day part. So a morning, an afternoon, those are day parts. Now we're at $500, $520. Okay. That sounds a whole lot better. Now, an average day part is 3.5 hours. That's $149 more per hour. You guys, that's nothing. That's nothing. Let's just divide that by 3. That's 3 extra adjustments an hour. Yeah. Okay. If you can't find 3 extra patient visits or 3 extra pillows that you're going to sell, or everybody's going to go home with a TENS unit, I'm just making stuff up, whatever. If you can't find that, write this down, catsconsultants.com. Get a business advisor. Let us help you figure out how to do that because it's that simple. It's that simple.
I look at the number that you just gave me, and here's how I see it. I look at it as this. Is there not somebody else that needs care that I wasn't able to get into my schedule? So can we get another patient into our schedule? Yeah. Is there not somebody that didn't need a durable good like a pillow that's, $50 item? Okay. Am I going to make $50 on that? No, I'm not. So maybe I need 4 at that. But from a standpoint of looking at where we can do things in our practice, I look at it as if I have probably failed a patient here and there. I got a little bit too busy and I didn't make a proper recommendation for the patient that came in with neck pain and headaches. And we didn't talk about magnesium. We didn't talk about a pillow. We didn't talk about a gel ice pack even to take home. Right. What are some of the things that I can add in? And if I start looking at that, I'm going to look at more than 3 patients. I'm looking at my existing patient base too, going, I've done a bad job. Gosh, I should really be probably recommending more nutrition because I know it helps my patients. So what it does is it starts the wheel turning, and you really don't have to worry much about it because you're going to take it in such tiny little pieces over an hour's time that at the end of the day, you'll probably have actually made more than even the number was that we suggested because you're actually focused on improving patients' health. And that's really where it's at. It's not about, let me figure out a way to add $50 more here or there. It's what can I do for my patients that I'm not doing now because literally probably I'm running with my head down.
Yeah. Yeah. And docs, you don't have to do this on your own either. If you have staff, develop your staff into these amazing revenue generating machines. My staff was crazy good at doing this stuff. But I set the expectation of, hey, if you hear something, if you hear this, let me know. Or if you see an opportunity to do this and it's good for the patient, then do it. But they have to have this is where you have to be a leader. They have to have your permission to do those things. And I'll give you some great examples. Marissa was always really good at listening to patients. So one time we had this gentleman for 3 visits in a row, he was late. No big deal. So Marissa one day said, "Oh my gosh, Bill, you're late again," just teasing him. He said, "Marissa, I get out of bed every morning and it takes me a half hour to get around because my heel hurts so bad." Gosh, Bill, you should talk to Dr. Perusich about that, because that may be a condition called plantar fasciitis, and we do great things for that.
Hey, let me pause you for a second. How did Marissa know anything about plantar fasciitis?
I taught her.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Good job.
Thank you. And so, you know what Bill's response was? This is really funny. He was a low back pain patient. He said, "I didn't know you did anything but low backs." So huge opportunity. Boom, brand new treatment plan. Now I've got him in extremity adjustments and some laser therapy. I just added more services, and it was good for the clinic, the litmus test, good for the clinic, good for the patient. So we did it. And he was happy. He was super happy.
This guy's going to go out and tell everybody now, Dr. Perusich helped my plantar fasciitis, because somebody else is going to say, I've been going to, get injections or whatever. And
this guy flooded our practice with plantar fasciitis patients. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. And even as something as simple as what I love hearing sometimes is just the little training stuff that we've done about icing on acute injuries and, even subacute injuries, and talking about what patients need to do when they get their first adjustments. And we start talking about maybe utilizing that ice pack to keep inflammation down. So when you come in for your next visit, you're more mobile, you're easier to adjust. We talk about some of those things. Nothing warms my heart more than me being busy and not getting to that topic with a patient. So I drop the ball, and my staff picks it right up.
Right back up.
By the time I get up front, that patient has a bag with a gel ice pack in their hand. And the staff at that point re-engages me by saying, "Hey, doc, we gave Joe an ice pack for his low back as he gets home, because we knew you were going to want to tell him to do that. But do you have one of the slips that actually identifies how long he should utilize that?" Which brings me back into the conversation.
Yep.
And then I can just sit there and actually be the beneficiary of something that's going to be really good for the patient. It's really good for the practice. And what I say for the practice, I'm not even talking about financially. What I'm talking about is good for the practice from the standpoint that we are going to create a patient that is going to be more compliant in their care, and they're going to get better results because we did a more complete job because I dropped the ball.
But you were enough of a leader prior to that you developed your staff to be able to take over in those situations.
Because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. And so, and so it flows downhill. Then your staff leads the patient to an opportunity for a better outcome. And it comes right back around to you to be the leader back to the patient as well, to reinforce it. So
you see how we did that, folks? That works pretty well.
Cool.
And it doesn't diminish your capacity or capability as a doctor. It doesn't take away from you. And all of a sudden they go, "Well, that guy doesn't know what he's doing, but his staff sure does." Actually, it just looks like everybody's trying to help the patient.
Yeah.
When in reality, we're all going to forget something here and there. We're going to miss a step, even though we do it all day, every day.
Right.
Sometimes we get distracted, and we all help each other, which is great. That's why you train staff.
Yep. And I say this all the time, so I'm a broken record on this, but don't teach your staff stuff. Train them.
I say teach, but yeah.
Well, you said train. You said train.
Oh, did I say train? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher, so a lot of times I say teach as well, but
yeah. So teaching is just showing somebody some little nugget of information. Training is, here's the information, let's practice. So practice, rehearse, and drill. We say that all the time. So that's being a leader. That's being a leader. But you've got to get in, you've got to lead your staff, you got to set expectations, you got to share with them the goals and how you're going to get to the goals. And I'll give you a great example of that. Many years ago, we were stuck at 44 patient visits a day. This is fairly early on in practice. 44 patient visits a day. And I walked in one day, we were having a staff meeting. I walked in and I'd written on a piece of paper, 88. And I laid it down in front of my staff. And I said, "What does that say?" And one of them at the end of the table said, "Well, it looks like two infinity symbols," because it was sideways for them. And then somebody else said, "No, it's 88. And I said, "That's where we're going." And they all looked at me like I had three heads. How are we going to go from 44 to 88? And I said, here's how we're going to do it. And we stair-stepped the process. So in the next 30 days, we're going to see, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head now, but we're going to see 10 more patients a week. And then the month after that, we're going to add 10 more patients a week. And then the month after that. And so we developed this whole plan. And the goal was over 4 months, we were going to go from 44 to 88.
And you did two things when you did that. Number one, you took it in bite-sized chunks, which are digestible. That's number one. Number two, you gave your practice the opportunity to stretch and grow, because as you grow, you may find that the physical plant, the way that you have your practice set up right now, won't support 88 patient visits in a day.
Right.
You may have to move things around in your practice. You may have to move patients around. You may have to change the way that patients interact with the physical plant of your building as well for it to work better. So you gave yourself an opportunity to stretch and grow where you could see where things were starting to get tight before they blew up in your face, which is phenomenally intelligent to do it that way.
And so we remodeled our procedures every time we'd take those steps and everything. And the other thing that we did was we kept talking about it. So I kept leading the process and bringing the staff more and more into it. And so at one point, we were about 3.5 months in. So we weren't even to the point where we thought we'd, the 4 months. We're still a couple of weeks away. And Marissa comes over to me. I'd just gotten done adjusting a patient I'll never forget. And she said, "Hey, I just wanted you to know something. We are off our goal. We're not going to hit 88. She said, and I just kind of looked at her like, I thought we were doing great. And she said, we have 109 on tomorrow. We blew right through 88 and we never looked back.
It's because you believed you could. You conveyed that to the staff. You had,
and we led the process.
Literally, you just described what a goal is. You said, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to get there. You communicated that to everybody, and the why is important too. Why do we want to treat 88 rather than 44? I want to get more bodies on the tables because I want to help more people. There's so many people out there that want our help and should have the opportunity to feel and function better in this society. So I think it's a phenomenal thing to do. So you had a goal. You were able to communicate that. And guess what? Now you became a team that worked through that goal because you also had well-trained staff that already knew how to do their jobs. And all you guys had to do was up your game and figure out where the sticking points were, where the tight spots were when you did that, and you adapted as a result. That is an absolute winner for a goal. And it's okay to write in your action steps in your goal that you're going to reevaluate every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks or every week or whatever for sticking points, and you may add more action steps to your goal. It's a living document when you write a goal. It's not just a set thing, and that you just showed it right there. And as a result, you guys blew it out of the water, which is incredible.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was totally fun. And everybody always asked me, "Where'd you come up with 88?" I wanted to double the practice. I just wanted to see if we could do it. I knew we could, but I just wanted to see if we could do it. And if you join our mastermind program, or you may see us on the road with this program too, because we do take this out to some cities from time to time. We do a program called Double Your Practice, and we actually spend about 4 hours. We do this at Doctor's Retreat, but again, we do it out on the road too, and anybody can sign up for those. We walk you through the entire process of how to envision the double your practice goal, how to set the action steps, how to create the strategies, and how to implement it. And it blows people's practices out of the water. It's just because one giant boom.
Because now you have a roadmap, right?
Exactly.
It goes right back to what we talked about. Now you know how to get from where you're at to Oklahoma City, and you know how to do it effectively and efficiently. And you get there because everybody knows where you're going now.
Yep. It's the GPS for your practice.
Yep. I love it. I think that's phenomenal. And really, we had no idea when we started talking in this segment, kind of where we were going and how it was all going to play out. But the truth of the matter is that's how our minds think. And that's how we work with clients is we try to break things down into their simplest element and get you to take one step forward, take another step forward.
Yep.
and keep moving. I've got a phrase, and we just, we were working on a presentation that we're getting ready to do. And I put into this that you need to continue despite your achievement. In other words, every time you take a step forward and you have a win, you need to keep pushing forward.
Absolutely.
Does that mean that you're going to wear yourself out and you're just going to burn yourself out? No, we don't want you to do that. Everybody's going to have a little bit of up and down to where you're going to coast a little bit. We're aware of that already. But what we want to see is that when you are pushing up the hill, that you're not trying to coast up the hill. I want you to push up the hill and then coast down.
Exactly. So, that's when you rest. That's when you rest. Hey, that was fun. All right, everybody. If you want to find out how to become a Path to Mastery client of ours, and we have other programs as well, go check us out on katzconsultants.com. We've got all kinds of free downloads. Subscribe to the podcast. We put these out every week. And most of all, we appreciate y'all listening to us and joining us each and every week. So we will see you guys next time.
See you later.